Smoothing, I don't need it that smooth, I'm not drawing. Okay, so we'll be starting with introduction to graphing. So we're going to talk about the coordinate plane. So here's the Cartesian coordinate system, or just as you cover down with the rectangular coordinate system. Each pair of points, each of these is known as each point is given an ordered pair. That means the order matters. Or the x coordinate's the first one, and the y coordinate's the second one. This point right here is known as the origin. So we call that the origin. And so here the x coordinate, so this point right here would be 6, 2. This point, and so it's just like how much you go over in the x and how much you go up in the y. So this would be 1, 9. Like over here, this would be -7, 3. And we won't do all of them, but we'll do a couple of them. So just real quick in chat, what would this point be? What is this point? So I'll have you guys give me 1 or 2 answers, and I'll make sure you can just type them out. It is -5, -6. Correct, that's it. So I use Photoshop, so I can just do that, hit a button, magically everything. So this is -5, -6. Okay. And so we're going to label the quadrants. Also want to label the quadrants. This is the first quadrant. This is the second quadrant. This is the third quadrant. And this is the fourth quadrant. We use Roman numerals. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is 4 in Roman numerals. So that's just the basics of this. All right. And I think that's the end of the first page. I'll leave it up for a second before I skip to the next page. And so we'll be using this coordinate system exclusively. I don't think we ever switched to any other system. And here's just a bunch of points that I put everywhere. I put way too many on. All right, we're going to go to the next page. If for any reason while you're doing the notes, if you want me to hold on a page for a second, let me know. But if I hold for like a minute, because I'm always going to delay at the end of the page so you can finish writing down stuff. I'll post the videos usually about twice a week. I plan on making Tuesday and Thursday my video dump days where I just dump everything because it's just faster doing huge batches. So, so you'll probably get them dumped twice every week. Like today, I'll plan on dumping some videos. All right, so this is the distance formula. So the distance between any 2 points, A and B, is the following. So you just calculate it as the x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And the order technically for this doesn't matter. For the midpoint, to find the midpoint between 2 points, you just add up the x's and divide by 2, you add up the y's and divide by 2. We'll show you how this is done. We'll do this for 2 examples real quick. So let's pretend we want to find the distance between, we're going to find the distance and the midpoint for each of these sets. So let's start with the distance. So the distance is equal to the square root. For this one, we're going to have, I'm going to just label this one x1, y1, and then this x2, y2. You don't have to label the points, but here we're going to take x2 minus x1. So it'll be 3 minus 1 squared plus, here we're going to have -7, because that's our y2, minus y1, which in this case is 3 squared. And here we're going to simplify it 1 step at a time. So 3 minus 1 is 2 squared, plus -3, or -7 minus 3 would be -10. So let's be -10 squared. Then when we put those two together, 2 squared is 4. 10 squared is 100. So this is equal to the square root of 104. And at this point, go ahead and leave it as a square root of 104. Okay. I think, can you remind us where you're going to be dumping the videos? I'm going to put them on YouTube, and then I'm going to create a link in Canvas to them. I'm debating if I don't want to just make a playlist for you guys in YouTube where you guys can just get access to them. Playlist, or have, I think I might do what I've done in the past, is just have, let's say, this week's videos and just have the link to the 2 videos and then put it in a playlist on YouTube. I have them as unlisted, so you need the link. There's a certain reason for that, but we'll go from there. I probably should just have them as public. It doesn't really matter. But sometimes I pull things from the book or I show the book, and that's why I have it unlisted, just for copyright reasons. Okay, so this is, and so you can just go ahead and once you get to square root, leave it for that. Okay, the midpoint, define the midpoint. In order to do that, we're going to just use this formula right here. So the midpoint will be x1 plus x2. So this will be 1 plus 3. So it'll be 1 plus 3 divided by 2, comma. So midpoint, and then it'll be 3 plus a negative 7. So it'll be 3 plus a negative 7. And this is how I'd write that, 3 plus and then the negative divided by 2. Well, 1 plus 2, let's go ahead and not skip steps. So this would be 4 divided by 2 when we simplify that. 3 plus a negative 7 is the same as 3 minus 7, which gives us minus 4 divided by 2. And then if we divide 4 by 2, we get 2, and negative 4 divided by negative 2 gives us, or negative 4 divided by positive 2 gives us negative 2. So that's our midpoint. All right, I'll do the next one, B, with you. All right, so B. So here, this one is distance is the square root of 2 plus 2 minus 0 squared. Oops, I'm doing this backwards. Hold on. Here, this will be x1, x2. No. This will be x1, y1, x2, y2. So it'll be x. Let me show the formula. That way I don't get anyone lost. So it'll be x2 minus x1. So in this case, it'll be 0 minus 2 squared plus 2 minus 0 squared. So that will give us the square root of 0 minus 2 would be negative 2 squared. And then here we'll have 2 minus 0, which just gives us 2 squared. Well, negative 2 squared is 4, and 2 squared is 4. So I have square root of 4 plus 4. And this is equal to the square root of 8. You can leave it here. That's the square root of 8. You guys might know the trick. Well, I can pull out. This is 2 times 4. 4 can come out as a 2 square root 2. I wouldn't worry about this right now. It's just something you can do if you knew how to do it. And then for the midpoint here would be is equal to 2 plus 0 divided by 2, comma, of 0 plus 2 divided by 2. So this is 2 over 2, 2 over 2. So the midpoint here is 1, comma, 1. Okay. All right. So I want you guys to try C on your own. You see me do it twice. Now I want you to do it once, and then I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes, and then I'll ask for the answers in chat. Oh, let me scroll up in case. So. And in Web Canvas, this is what should be uploading for the notes. Where it says notes, this is it. So if you just kind of follow along and just do the 1 or 2 problems I ask you to do, you'll be good to go. For this one, I warn you, the midpoint won't be clean. It's a fraction. So. Go ahead and make my cursor just a teeny bit smaller. So just go down to a 4-point. All right, has anyone gotten the distance for this? Midpoint, yep, that's correct. Anyone else get the same answers? know if I shouldn't say that's correct before I say it. Anyone else get the same answer? Okay, so some of you at least tried it. So I encourage you to attempt to do this while you're not doing it. And if anything, if you don't understand anything, go ahead and speak out, type it in chat. Like, could we go over that in a little bit more detail? This class is designed to have extra time to go over everything. So that's the point, okay? All right, so let's just go through it. I'm gonna go through this one a tiny bit quicker because I'm assumed you've done it. So here we're gonna have 2 and 2 minus a minus 3, which gives us plus 3, right? Squared plus a 5 minus 2. So 2 minus a 3 gives us 5. So this is 5 squared plus 3 squared, which gives us the square root of 25 plus 9, which gives us the square root of 34. And for the midpoint, we'll have minus 3 plus 2 divided by 2, and then the y component's 2 plus 5 divided by 2. This just ends up not being very, doesn't simplify. This become negative 1 over 2. Can't simplify this. 2 plus 7 gives us 7 over 2. Can't simplify from there. Okay. So that's how you find both the distance and midpoint. Your homework online will ask you to do, find the distance, find the midpoint, and go through some of that. A graph of equation. A graph of equation is a set of all points which satisfy the equation. What does it mean to satisfy an equation? It means it makes the equation true. And what does that mean? It means that what's on the left side of the equal sign equals what's on the right side of the equal sign. The definition of intercepts. Intercept is where the x-intercept, where it graph intercepts the x-axis. That would be at y equals 0. So if y is equal to 0, that means you're on the x-axis. When you're on the y-intercept, it's where it intersects the y-axis, it means where x equals 0. And so let's go ahead and calculate those here. All right, zoom on in. We'll do this. Okay. So notice here, let's go ahead and label our axis. This is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. Okay, and so when my value of y is 0, okay, we'll go ahead and label this 1, 2, 3, right? So when my value is 0 here, that means I'm on the x-axis, and so that'll give me, so when y equals 0, that'll give us our x-intercept. When x equals 0 means I'm here instead of 1, 2, 3, means I'm on the y. Okay, so let's just do this by plotting points. All right, so y here is equal to, well, can I solve this for y? Sure, I just move over minus, so remember how we can move stuff over? So we can just minus 3x to both sides. That means gives me y equals 2 minus 3x. So here we'll have 2 minus 3x, okay? So let's just go ahead and put in a whole bunch of x's. So 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Fine. If I plug in 3 into, let's start with 0. 0 is easier. So if I plug in 0 for x, I'm going to have 2 minus, it'll be 2 minus 3 times 0, which of course is just 2. If I plug in 1, I'll have 2 minus 3 times 1. Plugging it in just right here, that'll give me negative 1. Here we'll get negative 4. What do we get when we plug in x equals 3? 2 minus 3 times 3. What are we going to get right here? Go ahead and just put it into chat when you figure that out. Minus 7. Yep, minus 7 is correct. So we'll be doing minus 7. All right, and so, and I'll go ahead and give you the other ones. This is 5, this is 8, this is 11. Calculate it the same way. And so our coordinate, our point here would be our x and then our y. So here's our coordinate point, 2 and 4, minus 1 and minus 1, 0 and 2, minus 1 and 5, minus 2 and 8, and then minus 3 and 11. Okay. All right, so we're going to use this as, we're just going to use normal scaling, so each dot will be a point. So our very first point, let's just start with the, let's start here, 0 and 2. So I'm going to be 0 in the x, so I'm on right here, and then 2 in the y, so that's this point right here. Our next point will be 1 and negative 1 right here, so it'll be 1 over in the x, negative 1 in the y. Plot that point. This is a line, so it'd be nice to have 3 points. Let's go ahead and use this one. So it'll be negative 1 in the x direction, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then here we can graph our line. And let's see if I can just cheat. I think in Photoshop, yeah, I can just do that. And so here I got a rough sketch of a line. And so here's our line. So our x-intercept is where I and t, this is where y equals 0, remember? So it's a point. So an x-intercept is a point. And so where does y equals 0? Well, here the x-intercept is here, right? And so in order to find what the x-intercept is, I said y equals 0, so we just plug that in. So I have 3x plus 0 for y, right? I'm plugging in 0 for y equals 2. If I solve this, I'm just going to divide. This is 3x equals 2. Divide by 3. And so I have the x equals 2/3. And so I have the point 0. Oops. I have the point 2/3, because that's what x is, and 0. So that's my x-intercept right here, 2/3, 0. My y-intercept, my y-intercept is where x is equal to 0. And we already have that. We already calculated that. And so that's just 0, 2. And does that match our graph? Yep, it's right here. Okay, so let's do the next one. All right, so this is a nonlinear graph, right? So this isn't linear. This is a quadratic graph. And so we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here in order to produce our graph. So here, I'm just going to do x, 3, 2, 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. Just some random points. Here, we already have this is y equals, so we're just going to be doing x squared minus 1. So here, 0, so the very first one would be 0 squared minus 1 would, of course, give us negative 1. Here, let's go ahead and do like negative 2. So negative 2 squared minus 1. Notice when you plug in a value for x, because here's our x squared minus 1 is our y. So when I'm plugging in values for x, it's usually a good idea to put it in put what you plug in parentheses. That way you make sure to do the correct operation. And the reason I say that is minus 2 squared does not equal minus 2 squared, because order of operation means exponents first. I don't remember how you guys, it's powers, exponents, so you guys probably remember as powers. Oh no, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. That's what you guys remember as, vaguely. And so you do what's in parentheses first, and then you go from there. It's my knee doctor calling me. I'll call him back later. And so when you do this, this would be, we're squaring what's on the inside here, we'll get 4, but here we're going to square the 2 and then negate it. And so this becomes minus 4. So it does matter. I'll try to make everything where this doesn't come up too much, but just so you know, this is why I always write it in parentheses. Anyway, so this would be 4 minus 1, which gives us 3. negative 1 squared minus 1. Well, negative 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 1 gives us 0. And the rest we can just fill in from here. This would be 2. This would be 0. This is 8. So go ahead and tell me which one this is. When x is 2, what is the y value? Put that into chat. Oops. Someone came and left. Yeah, it's 3. Okay. So one of you just left and came back. If you need to leave for any reason, just put into chat, hi, I need to re-log in. And that way I know to look to re-emit you. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and graph this one. So here's our x, here's our y. Let's just go ahead and graph the points. So let's write down the points. This is 3, 8. This is 2, 3. This is 1, 0. This is 0, minus 1. This is minus 1, 0. This is minus 2, 3. This is minus 3, 8. Okay. And so I'm just writing them as an ordered pair. We're going to just pretend that this is just standard. So at 0x, I'm at negative 1 and y. So it'll be 0, negative 1. This is my first point. My second point here is at 1, x and 0. My next point is at 2 and then 3. 1, 2, 3. My next point will be at 3. 1, 2, 3, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just so you know, my standard, when I put these little graphs in, this is 8 tall and 8 across, just so you know. Because sometimes if it's like 7, you just go 1 down. Just how I almost always have these things written. And then here at negative 1, it's 0. At negative 2, it's 3. 1, 2, 3. And at negative 3, it's 8, which is all the way up top. Okay. And so this is a parabola. And that's how we graph that. And so the graph here, so this point technically solves this equation, right? Whatever that point is. And so does this point, and so does any point on this graph solve the equation as long as we've interpreted it correctly. All right, so let's talk about intercepts here. Let's have our x-intercept on this side. This is where y equals 0. And we'll have our y-intercept on this side. And this is where x equals 0. All right. Luckily, by design, they're all on the graph because we'll solve quadratic equations later, right? So here, y equals 0 at 2 different points, right? And here we can see on the graph it equals 0 at 2 different points. Well, those points are at 1, 0, and then also at negative 1, 0. Okay, so those are our 2 x-intercepts right here and here. The y-intercept is where it intercepts the y-axis right here, and that's where x is 0. We have that one as well, and that is 0 minus 1. Okay. Any questions on how to find x-intercepts or y-intercepts, or if you're given an equation, how to graph it? Nope. Okay. I really wish I could see your faces, but only so much. I won't make you guys turn on your cameras. All right, so let's do the next page. All right, so sketch the graph. So we're going to sketch this graph. Do you guys know what this means right here? If you do, just go ahead and write in chat. Does anyone know what that symbol means? What do I do? No, absolute value. If the answer is no, please tell me no. Please tell me no, because you're not the only one. All right, so this means absolute value. So basically, this is, so if I have minus, oops, that's how funny looking 3 is equal to 3. So basically, everyone says the wrong way to think about it is to make it positive, which works 90% of the time. This means what is the distance of from the origin of this, okay? And so for like 7, it'll just be 7, and if it was negative 22, it'll be 22. And so basically, how far is this on from the origin of the number line? If it's a single value, if there's a single number here, just make it positive, whatever it is. If it's an expression, you cannot just make it positive. That doesn't work. You take whatever the value of that expression is and then make it positive. Okay. And so well, we don't need all the points for this one. We'll keep it simpler. So here we have 0 will just be 0. I plug it through. 1 will still be 1, 2 will still be 2, negative 1 will turn into 1, and negative 2 will turn into 2. Let's give us the points 2, 2, 1, 1, 0, 0, minus 1, 1, and then minus 2, 2. All right, if we plug in those points, we'll have this point right here, 0, 0. We'll have 1 and 1, 2 and 2, negative 1 and 1, and then negative 2 and 2. So this is this point, and this is this point, in case you're wondering. All right, and so if we're going to do this, all right, so that's the graph of this, roughly. Where this is my x, this is my y. And so if we want the x-intercept, it's where y equals 0. If we want the y-intercept, it's where x equals 0. In this case, it's the same point. It's 0, 0. Because notice that this point right here is where it touches the x-axis, and it's also where it touches the y-axis. Okay. So that's absolute value. We'll use it a little bit more in this class, but not too terribly much. All right, so let's talk about an equation of a circle. I will be doing this with you. I don't think you guys do anything this difficult. The other class, I'll probably force them to crunch through this, but we'll go ahead and do this. So here, we want to put this. So an equation of a circle always looks like this: x minus h squared, y minus k squared, and then r squared, where the center of the circle is at h and k. And so let me just do a quick example. So if I had x minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared equals 4, that means that this circle center is at h and k, so this is, so whatever this is, go ahead and, so this is minus 3, but since the minus here, this is positive 3. That makes sense why that is. Why are there arrows on the line? Okay, so hold on. I'm missing a few things. Well, yes, so the class, I will be posting this on value. I'll be posting this. It'll get processed today when YouTube finishes, because I'm not an influencer. I'm on the bottom of the YouTube's little list. It'll get probably posted later tonight just because it has to go. I have to post-process it, upload it, and then YouTube post-processes it and uploads it. And then once it's done, I can then put it on. So it takes about a couple hours for it just to crunch through all the stuff. But yes, it should be on YouTube today. So why are the arrows on the lines? Oh, so the arrows on the lines, when we put arrows on these lines right here, it means it continues onward. It means it just keeps going that way. I only can draw on this little line here. And so, all right, with these, oh, this is just an example. So this is just a quick example. So I'm just making up a quick example. If you saw this is an equation of a circle. The center of the circle will be at 3 minus 2. So whatever this is, just go ahead and flip it, because the way it's written is x minus h and y minus k. So here, the center of this circle will be 3. So since it's already minus, we'll just make it positive. So this is 3. And when this is positive, we'll make it negative. So 2. Okay. because another way of writing this would be y minus a minus 2 squared, which would make it look like this form. That means our k value here is negative 2. All right, and then here, my radius, oops, I didn't write this in. That's r is the radius. R is the size of my radius. I didn't write that out, right? So here I see 4, so I'm going to have to take the square root of that. So this is actually only 2. Okay. These are just things for circles. I think it comes up on the homework. I don't think we test too much on the exam about it. But if we do, you'll have plenty of practice before it. All right, now, if you see something like this and it says put it into standard form of circle, this one gets a little bit more complicated. And so here, let me rewrite this to make it easier. I'm going to leave a blank spot right here, and then I'm going to have y squared minus 6y, and leave a blank spot right here and say equals, and I'm going to move this 7 over. So I'm going to minus 7 from both sides. Okay, so all I did was reorder it. I took this, put it here. I take the x, put it here. I left me a blank spot on purpose, right? I left me a blank spot on purpose. Then it's going to be plus the y squared here, plus the negative 6y here, and I left a blank spot on purpose. In order to complete this, it's a technique called completing the square. So in order to complete the squares, you take half of this and square it. So half of this and square this would be 1. Half of negative 3, or half of negative 6 is negative 3. So you take, let me write this so it's clear. Half of this squared goes here. Okay. And so here it's called completing the square. I think we actually address this specifically later. So don't worry about it if you don't understand this part excessively well. I just want you to be able to put stuff into standard form. So half of this, so half of 6, negative 6 would be minus 3. So this becomes minus 3. Minus 3 squared is 9, so we add 9 here. Okay. Now, since we added 9 here, so half of this is 1, 1 squared, oops. 1 squared is 1, so we add it here. So if I add 1 here and add 9 here, I need a minus 1 here. Oh no, if I add 1 here and add 1 here, I also need it added on this side. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. So if I added 1 and 9, I need to add 1 and 9. And so if this is all complicated, just know it simplifies to this. So here I can put this together, because this is x plus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 3. The reason that this is in my 124 notes is to see how well completing the square is known by the students. I assume for this class you don't know. At the other class I'm going to test that a little bit more. We'll do this in detail. Just really focus at this point. If I gave you this, from here, what is the center of the circle? What's the center of the circle as an ordered pair? So go ahead and chat, tell me what the center of the circle is as an ordered pair. Goes on for outside what you do, standard for graphing. Yep, thanks for answering the other person's question. So what's the center of the circle? X plus 1 squared and y minus 3 squared. Yes. So minus 1 and 3. Okay, so all this is for future work. This is future work. It's in my standard notes, and I'm going to teach you from my standard notes. But I'll warn you, sometimes I do stuff for future work to test to see how much I need to worry about later, okay? Because I don't think many of you, how many people, no, that's a terrible way to do this. How can I ask this question? It's like, how many people come from completing square? It's probably not many. But everyone got this. What is the radius of this circle? So just worry about where the center is and where the radius is for now. Where's the radius of the circle? Or what is the radius? What's the length of the radius for the circle? Okay, see, I'm glad I asked this question. So we have anywhere between, so we have the square root of 3, 3, and 9 are the three main candidates, right? So let's go over each one of this. So according to this, r squared is what this value is. And so this squared is what that value is. Well, if I take square root, if I square each one of these, which one of these gives me 3? Well, this will give me 3, this will give me 9, this will give me 81. And so we find that it's the square root of 3. Okay. So whatever value you see here on the other side, just take the square root of that. Kind of like here where we had 4, we take the square root of 4, that gives us the radius of 2. Okay. All right. We ended early last time. We'll be a little bit over this time, but not by much, because we only have to graph 2 circles real quick. So let's just graph the 2 circles, and then we'll call it the day. All right, so here's a graph the following circles. Not what I wanted. No, I don't need to save this. I want to zoom. There's my zoom. Thank you. All right, so we're going to sketch and graph the following circles. So here, what we want to do is identify the center. Well, the center of the circle is 0, 0, right? Because there's nothing on either side. The radius here is 3. And so here we're going to put our center right here at 0, 0. Our radius is 3, 1, 2, 3. And I usually like to go to the left, or to the right 3, up 3, to the right 3, or left, sorry, I'm dyslexic. To the right, up, left, and down 3 from that point. And then just kind of curve, circle as best I can. It's about as good as you can get it. Okay. Here, what's this? So, oh, I think I did this already. See if you guys remember from the other page. What's the center of the circle? And what's the radius of the circle? Real quick. So the center here is 2, minus 3. Perfect. And the radius here is 2, so you can take the square root of this. And so here we're going to go over 2. So we're going to go over 1, 2. We're going to go down 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So this is our center. So at 2, 3. So we'll put that point in. And then our radius here is 2. So we're going to go 2, 2, 2, 2. And then we graph it. And then we just go like this. And there we go. All right. We're a whole minute over, which isn't bad. So like I said, it'll be about an hour. So we might go a little over on some days, a little less on some other days. And so can I able to see page 2 again? Sure, I can. So let's quickly scroll through page 2 and 3. You'll see this, these will be posted. Here's 2. So, and then you'll just upload these notes. So wait until we finish the other. So do 1, 1 and 1, 2 together. So upload that together. Attempt some of the homework tonight for the 1, 1. Just attempt some of the 1, 1 homework. If I miss something that you want me to go over, or something's not fully explained, please let me know. We have, and that's what we'll be doing Thursday. Okay. If we don't have anything from that on Thursday, I think I might prep some notes either tonight. I'm going to put 4 up for you guys. Let me zoom out just a teeny bit so you can see it. I think I'll prep some notes for 4 in case you guys have no questions, and we'll do those notes. If you do have questions, we won't do those notes. We'll do your questions. Where do we find the 1, 1 homework on Canvas? Oh, okay. Let me explain that real quick. This is the 124 class. So unfortunately, let me go to Canvas real quick. Attendance. Unfortunately, Pearson's not integrated because I don't own that. And so in order to get to your homework, you're just going to click on the student registration handout right here. You're going to make an account to the homework, and then you just click right here. It'll take you to my math lab, and you just sign in as a student, and then you'll see. Yeah, it's nice. It's wonderfully nice, and then you'll do your homework. Okay. All right. Any other happy fun questions before we call it a day? Let's go to desktop 2. So give your homework a try. Try to have an account. Try to have an account ready to go. Page 3, please. Yeah, okay, I'll put 3 up for a second. Other than that, you guys are, do we need to pay for the textbook on Pearson? So when it comes to this textbook, let me reiterate. The only thing you have to have for my class is access to the Pearson homework, because that's also where the department's going to be putting the exams. So they make the hands, they make the homework. I heard the cheapest way is just to pay them $70 straight up for the 18-week access. If you buy it through the school for some reason, it's like $6 more for school tax. I have no clue why. I don't pretend to know. So that's, I heard, the cheapest option. And you get access to the e-textbook, so you'll have a version of the textbook to have with you, and then you'll always have my notes to help you through the material as well. Speaking of that, when you click Ask Your Professor, currently it goes to the wrong professor, and I need to switch it off the chair to me, so I'll go do that now. So, all right, guys. I'll upload these video tonight, and it'll be shorter. Like, I'll cut out all the attendance stuff, and when I finish the notes, I'll just cut it from there to there. Okay. So good luck, guys. Take care. Enjoy. Sorry for going 5 minutes over, but we'll probably end early on Saturday. Does anyone have like if you really need to go at the end, I'll just post the last 2 minutes. They'll always be posted for you. Okay. All right. Take care, guys. And have a good rest of your day. We'll do 1.2 tomorrow. Okay.